This week I received my official diagnosis of ADHD, but I always knew that I was. And I do really think that there's a connection between being neurodivergent, being ADHD and autistic, and the witchy, woo-woo kind of spirituality side of things as well. So for me, it's like trying to bring all of that together in one go. So I've got my podcast, which initially started with talking about ADHD and how that actually looks in real life, because I think you can read it on paper and how it actually, turns up is very different. So we did about a year's worth of different podcast episodes on all different neurodivergents, and we've just relaunched it now, doing the science versus spirituality theme.
So you've got about back episodes, you've got about 90 of them?
Yeah, about 99 or something like that. Yeah, lots of back.
So lots to explore.
Yeah. Well, this is why we thought we could afford to move on from the ADHD and the autism side, because we'd covered so many topics, and we thought we've got all of those archived essentially now. If people do come to us asking something specific, we can recommend an episode. But even like you were saying when you first introduced us this morning, that the conversations that people are having are way more open. Yeah, it's like 10 years ago I was talking like this, but 10 years ago people were threatening to lock me up for it. And whereas now I've written a book and I'm being like featured in magazine articles for my thoughts. So I do think that we're seeing a shift in the way people are thinking, and I'm here and ready to support that shift as well. But my podcast partner, who I present the podcast with, is very science-led, but it's actually works really well because I've got my head in the clouds and I am really open, whereas she can kind of bring me back down a little bit and
Great to have those two perspectives.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's the same with my mum as well. So with the actual bus project, I've just got these big ideas, and I'd be like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that, and then mum's there with the clipboard working out the finer details. Pretty much, yeah. My poor mum. This is why I bring her to all these things now, to try and release all that stress that I caused. I definitely caused a lot of that. But yeah, we did do a lot of the conversion ourselves. I got electricians in to do the electrics and the solar panels, and then right towards the end, I hired a carpenter to help me with the bookshelf. So it's actually a free book bus as well. And I go around, so last year I went to about 5 festivals. This year I'm booked in for 12 festivals. So it's going to be a real big leap from last year having a bit of a break in between each festival, whereas this year I think we're booked in every weekend from May until September. But the idea is with it being a book bus is that attract, open the door, there's free books, come in and get a book. But you find that the people that it attracts, we then end up talking about mental health and well-being and neurodivergence and witchy woo-woo stuff. And I'm a massive believer that energy attracts what you need anyway. So it's like, the book bus side of things was to give it the saleability and the attraction factor, but the right people are attracted to come along. And then once you kind of go into the bus, it's like a really nice community space and it's got a nice energy to it. So the idea is that I want to help people to connect with like-minded people and help communities reconnect, as well as advocate for reading as well, because I think that it's a really important skill, being in education and seeing the skills, the loss of skills in the last few years.
Do you sell books on the books now, or do you need donations of books?
So I just take donations on the books. It's just a free book swap, as it were. So sometimes I say library and I'm like, there's no membership needed or anything like that. It's just a free book swap. So that has worked really well. But yeah, so this book kind of talks you through the approaches that I used to keep my sanity as I was going, and I do firmly believe in manifestation, because like I say, I was almost like challenged myself, like, right, let's see if I can manifest this bus then, and everything just kept falling into place. But even like with the first big drive, that was the last time I'd really said to my spirit guides, I was like, I really want to be the best bus driver that the world has ever seen. And I don't want to be terrified every time I've got to take it out, because at that point I was still like, the thought of driving it was making me feel physically ill. And I'm thinking, but that's part of the plan, is to drive it around. And my first drive, the two things I was really scared about was roundabouts, because it's so rigid, and reversing. And the first drive I took it on, there must have been about 12 roundabouts. It was like one after another. By the end, I was like breezing them, like this is fine. And then when I got to my destination and went to turn into the gate, the road was too narrow to get the swing to get into the gate. And a tractor came up behind me, a farmer. He said, "Oh, you're gonna have to reverse it in." And it was like all these people standing and watching. And I just thought, I can do this. I could feel my spirit team around me, like cheering me on. It was so nice, because I'm on my own quite a lot, and I enjoy being on my own quite a lot, but I never feel lonely. I'm constantly chatting away to like these unseen forces and beings that I do feel I'm surrounded by. So in that moment, I was like, come on guys, we can do this, we've got this. And I did first time, just like whipped it around, reversed it straight into this tiny like narrow gate. Everyone was crying, I was crying. It was like, there's a lot of family members there that were crying, they were just strangers. And it just made me realise when I reflected that night, because at first I was like, oh my God, the two things I was scared of, there was loads of, and then I realised, yeah, but that was part of the plan. You asked for confidence. You're not just given the thing that you're asked for, you're given the circumstances that will help you achieve that. And I think like that's a really important thing to remember, that it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And you know, there's always something that you can gain from even the worst situations. There's some kind of light that you can take from that. But and even with the moons thing, I've gone about this all backwards, I do apologise, I don't really do linear. But so about
You're in the right place.
it was about 2022 when, so I've always had these weird conspiracies around the moon, that it's hollow, that it was put there, that, you know, it was engineered, that it's not a natural orbiting thing. So I never wanted to align with the moon cycles, because I was like, I don't trust you. But then something had to give, and I was constantly burning myself out. And because I'm a novelty seeking person as well, I couldn't just say, right, Tuesdays is my day off, because then that bores me, the idea. I'm dreading every Tuesday then, because I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do. And so I thought, right, full moons, I'll start every full moon, I'll do something with my family or with my friends or for myself. And that's how I started falling into line with the moon, because the minute I did that, it felt like everything. The idea for the bus came in. I decided to give up alcohol for a year. And it was just like the energy of the moon made me realise that all those natural cycles are actually really important. And again, if you're neurodivergent, I think you're even more sensitive to those things. So it kind of all ties in. Like when I'm teaching, I always have the moon phase in the top right hand corner of the board as well, because I try and say to the kids, but you can link that, you can work out if you feel a different energy shift, depending where the moon phase are. I'm trying to get them to like look internally a little bit more. So yeah, I credit now, even though I'm still not sure I trust the moon, I actually credit the moon with drawing me into a nice cycle, because it actually has got the rest built into the moon phases, whereas obviously now it's just very much you should be on the go all of the time, and that doesn't suit the body. But even this retreat being now, we've got about a week, haven't we, until the Fire Horse is released, and like, you know, the new year really begins with spring and everything like that. So I feel like it's been a lovely opportunity to really kind of shed that final energy of the year.
Sometimes with the moon as well, you can find yourself feeling a certain way, and then you look at what's going on with the moon, and you're just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. I always say that. Just learn astrology and then blame the moon for your moods. Like feeling tearful, it's the moon. Feeling excited, it's the moon. Yeah. But has anybody got any questions about the